Hey everyone, and welcome to the Ride or Die book tag. Hannah from Ladder M created this tag a few years ago, and I recently saw it resurrected on Ali's channel. I'll leave a link to both of them down below so you can check them out. And I just generally saw it and really wanted to do it, so I'm going to be doing it today. So let's get into the question. Question number 1 is The BFF, a book that not everyone likes but has been with you since the start, and you'll always love them. Skullduggery, I mean, is anyone shocked if I say this at this point? I am always raving about Skullduggery, and I'm not saying that most people don't like this or whatever. I'm saying this because not very many people seem to have read this book on BookTube, which is ridiculous, quite frankly, because I'm pretty sure this would be a BookTube darling if people would actually read it. But no one seems to want to read it, which is a forever annoyance of mine, because it's so good. It is so good. It is funny. It is really cleverly plotted. The world is incredible. The characters are amazing. The plot twists will have you doing double takes constantly, because you'll be like, wait, whoa, what happened there? And then you end up like going back and rereading like the previous books, and then you see where the plot twists were coming from and where they've been planned. It's all expertly done, excellently done, brilliantly done. Everything about this is brilliant. Why do more people not read this? I don't know. But for me, this is one of my absolute ride or die BFF books. I will reread it over and over and over again, along with the entire rest of the series. This book specifically has been with me since I was 11 years old. I'm now 27, and I just love it, and more people need to read it. And that's all I've got. More people need to read this. Just more people need to read it and get on this hype train, because I can't be the only one along with the rest of the Dead Famous read along gang who really enjoy this. There's got to be more of us out there. There needs to be more of us out there. Question number 2 is The Long Drive, a book you'll take on a journey, or if you know you're going to be spending a lot of time unable to move. I'm going to say literally any of the Dark Artifices series by Cassandra Clare, specifically Lord of Shadows or Queen of Air and Darkness, because they are chunky. Like, these are weapons of books, which means they will take me a very long time to read, which makes them perfect for a really, really long journey. Question number 3 is The Newcomer, which is a most recent book you've read but you can't stop thinking about. The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, because this was so cleverly done. We're following 5 or 6 people, if I remember rightly. Yeah, 6. And each one represents a different borough in New York, and they're basically all having to try and find each other and team up together to try and stop an extra dimensional being from essentially destroying New York. It was really, really cleverly done, really like brilliantly plotted and everything else. I loved all of the characters in this and how they all sort of worked together or sometimes didn't work together. I've never been to New York, but I've watched a lot of things based in New York, so I felt like I could really sort of understand like why these characters were specifically chosen for each borough, all the rest of it. I really, really enjoyed this. It made me really want to go to New York, and now I really want the sequel. But I'm currently waiting for the sequel to come out in paperback so I can read it, because obviously I want a matching set. But I really, really enjoyed this one, and I'm still thinking about it despite the fact that I read this like 2-3 weeks ago now. I really, really enjoyed it. Question number 4 is The Quiet One, the book you read for when you need some peace and quiet. Marvel 1602 by Neil Gaiman. Every time, just every time, if I want some peace and quiet, if I just want to enjoy myself and just take 5 minutes, I'll either read fanfiction or 1602, because this is the Marvel Universe set in the year 1602, essentially. You've got a lot of characters who are hidden, who are like revealed throughout the story. You've got a lot of characters who you know who they are from the start. It's really interesting to see how they change because they're in the year 1602, what they hide and all the rest of it. You've got like the fact that Peter Parker's running around and he keeps on nearly being bitten by a spider. Doctor Strange is still obviously a sorcerer. The Fantastic Four are still here, and how they got their powers is slightly different but still really cleverly done. Matt Murdock's running around, Natasha Romanoff, obviously Doctor Doom, so many others. It's so much fun. It was so cleverly plotted. The artwork is really cool as well, and I'll always just look on this one fondly, as it was one of the first Marvel comics I ever read, and it really made me fall in love with the genre of comics as well. I loved this, and if I need peace and quiet, I just read this because I love it so much. Question number 5 is The Outgoing One, which is the book you love to read in public or don't mind keeping with you for antisocial social situations. I don't really go out, to be honest, and if I do, I'll probably be listening to my audiobook, whichever one it is at the time. But I am going to say, though, Amari and the Night Brothers for this, because I feel like I'd really enjoyed this one, even when I am out and about, essentially, because it takes a lot for me to be able to sit and read in public, but these books are so good, so well done, and so much fun. I reckon I could probably read them in public without problems. I love the Men in Black vibes of this one, but it's more like fantasy based, but it's still very Men in Black in a lot of ways, which I really enjoy. I really enjoyed the world of this. I really enjoy Amari of this, and like the storylines and everything, and it's just plain fun. And it's really good fun, and I reckon I would probably manage to read this one even physically while out and about, which doesn't usually happen to me. I usually suck at that. Question number 6, I think this is question number 6. Anyway, next question is The Guilty Pleasure, the book you don't want to justify because it would be too embarrassing, but you love it nonetheless. I don't generally believe in guilty pleasures, to be honest. I've said this previously, because I'm fully of the belief that if you're enjoying yourself and you're not hurting anyone, have at it. Don't really feel guilty about it. But if we are talking about a book that I'm slightly embarrassed to be like, yeah, I own this series, it is the Dinosaur That Pooped series by Tom Fletcher and Dougie Poynter, simply because it's about pooping dinosaurs, I know, but this is where my sense of humour is at, to be honest. I stopped growing a sense of humour at about age 5, so these kind of things are still funny to me, and it also helps because it's written by Tom Fletcher and Dougie Poynter, who are 2 members of McFly, and so it's sort of like I can see sort of like their brains working throughout this one, and like this entire series, which is always fun, and I sort of like have their sense of humour in a lot of ways, so I sort of like catch the little references. I find the things they find funny, I find them funny as well. So yeah, I don't usually count these on like Goodreads. I just hit myself in the face with that, ow. Anyway, I don't usually count these on Goodreads, I don't talk about them that much, but I do really enjoy reading about pooping dinosaurs. Moving on. I have no excuse for the fact that I am a complete fangirl who will buy literally anything those boys write, or do for that matter. And that's where my sense of humour is. Moving on. I'm just going to move on. The next question is The Stranger, which is the book no one seems to have heard of, and you wish everyone had read it so you could talk about it. The Market of Monsters series by Rebecca Schaeffer. This is a very, very dark, morally grey fantasy series where we're following our main character, who has basically been dissecting monsters to sell them on the black market for her mother for years now, and what happens when she lands herself in that black market to be sold herself. And it is so good. It is so morally grey and dark and bloody and violent, so it's not for everyone. I would say it's not for everyone. If you're a fan of like the Villain series by V.E. Schwab, you'll probably really like this, because it's got that similar sort of everybody is morally grey, everyone is out to kill each other constantly kind of vibes, and it is so much fun. It is so much fun. Like I said, it's not for everyone, but I call this Wednesday Addams' perfect book. I love it so much. It is so good. No one has read it, and it really annoys me because I want more people to read this so I can talk to more people about it, because I am obsessed. I am in love with this and no one has read it, and I need someone to read it ASAP so I can talk to someone about this series, because I love it so ridiculously much and no one has read it, and it's driving me up the wall because I need someone to talk to about this because it was so good. The next question is The Book Was Better, which is a book you love but the film adaptation was awful. Artemis Fowl. Need I say more than that? Because I don't think I've ever seen such an adaptation that's completely and utterly ignored the like book material, essentially, because Artemis, to start with, in the book is described as clumsy quite a lot of the time. He's quite a slow runner, he's very, very bad at exercise, he doesn't like exercising, which, you know, relatable, and he's always like tripping over and things like this. He is very, very clumsy. So they had him being able to surf and enjoying surfing in the film. He's also always dressed in head to toe in a suit and everything else in the books. It's in a later book where his mother's basically like, can you please wear normal child clothes, and she gives him like jeans and a like hoodie, and he's not exactly happy with it, but he wears it, if I remember rightly, to make her happy because he loves his mother. In the first like couple of scenes, he's wearing jeans and a hoodie, which makes no sense. I think his mother was dead as well in the film, which made no sense, because then that completely ruined if these films have been successful during the spin-off, because obviously his mother needs to be around to have the twins, but his mother was just dead, which made no sense whatsoever. Holly's storyline was entirely erased, because Holly's entire point for the first few books, at the very least, is the fact that she's the only female officer in the LEP, which is basically the like fairy police. So they cast Judi Dench as Captain Root, Which, don't get me wrong, I love Judi Dench. Don't get me wrong, I love Judi Dench. Judi Dench is an absolute legend of a human being. I've got nothing against Judi Dench, but don't cast her as Captain Root, which then completely and utterly destroys Holly's storyline entirely. Like, what was the point in that? Like, cast Judi Dench literally anywhere else. Literally anywhere else would have been fine. But instead they did that, which completely and utterly wrecked Holly's entire storyline. And then that's without going into the fact that Mulch Diggums was a giant dwarf instead of a normal dwarf, like a fantasy dwarf, I mean, because he's supposed to be shorter than Artemis. He was 6 foot tall. He was basically the same size as Butler, who is meant to be a huge hulking man who is like taller than everybody else around him. And so they made Mulch Diggums, the dwarf, basically the same size. I was like, could you just not be bothered to CGI him down, or like CGI that in? What? Why? Essentially, I didn't even watch the film, by the way. This is literally just what I've heard from my mother, who watched it, and from the trailer. I watched the trailer and went, no, I'm out. Essentially, I literally just watched the trailer. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not watching that, essentially. And then I saw the comments on Twitter as well on the day it came out, and then definitely noped out of it. And then my mum watched it while I was doing a live stream at one point, and she went, you would have hated it. So I went, oh, right, okay then. Never, ever, ever, ever watching this movie. I'm going to stick with the books. Can you tell I'm passionate about this? The book was definitely better. I haven't even seen the film, and I know that the book was 100% better than that. But on a lighter note, the final question is the author. An author, you'll read everything that they'll ever produce. You trust them completely, whether it's a hardback series of 15 books or a shopping list. V.E. Schwab. I will literally read anything V.E. Schwab writes. Literally, I've enjoyed everything she's ever written. I absolutely adore her work so much. I'm obsessed with it. I love her characters. I love her storylines. Her worlds are incredible. The Vicious series is one of my favourite series of all time. I love Dark Shadow Magic. I love all of it. Addie spoke to me on many, 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 many levels. That woman could write literally anything and I would read it. Literally anything. And she could actually write a shopping list and I would read it. Genuinely, I would. I love her work so much. I love her work so ridiculously much. I love it. And that is the end of the Ride or Die book tag. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me some of your authors that you will read absolutely anything they ever write down below. I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a bike emoji, because this is the Ride or Die tag, so leave me a bike emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all of my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics, which has got a ton of stuff on the Marvel Universe, like 1602 and the original Marvel Universe and all the rest of that if you're interested in that, as well as a link down below to my Etsy and Redbubble store, which sells bookish merch if you're interested in that. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time, everyone, bye!